Hi, everyone. My name is Nav Garodia, and I'm a member of the RDTS Advisory Board. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the director of the movie, Jasraj Padye, as well as the protagonist, Tenzing Takbo. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, Nav. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this event, and thank you for your support.
Wonderful. The first question is directed to you, Jasraj. By the way, anyone listening in, please feel free to put in your questions on YouTube. We'd love to answer any questions that you may have. Having said that, Jasraj, first question to you. So,
Mhm.
as we've seen, this film has several underlying themes, two of the bigger ones being the refugee experience as well as climate change. Being the director, what's your bigger takeaway for audiences worldwide that are tuning in to watch this?
Um, well, the bigger takeaway for me personally, and I think for the audience that I would like to have, is the last statement of the film, which is the Sufi saying, which ends with the wise man tries to change himself, right? So I think Thakpola here is one of the greatest example of doing something that is a Herculean task, but taking the first step, and that is what defines a change maker, right? So in order to make actual change in the society, it's absolutely important that you do take the first step, and eventually you will get support. Just like today, all of us are getting the support because we took the first step. And that is I think that's the inspirational message that I would want everyone to take from it. Anything in your life, take the first step and you will succeed and you will move forward.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Jasraj. Takpala, welcome.
Hello, Jaswant. Hello. Now, thank you.
I was really inspired by your role as well as your general outlook on water conservation. What has inspired your stewardship of this initiative? And also, when you think about it more macro level, how has your refugee experience shaped this?
Well, it was in 2017 when I first received an opportunity to meet Sawanangila, Bob Ankerson, and other RTS leaders. Uh, and when I heard about their missions and vision to make Duguling a sustainable place, I felt this is an amazing opportunity and a platform for me to, give back something to the community. And as far as refugees concerned, we are just, India has been very kind to us by providing us a land to live and, a school to get educations, ration cards, and everything. So it has been a very helpful to us. And when we have found some, solutions of small water conservation model, and when we find success, it's important to share the good practices, and especially with the neighboring Indian villages who also feel the same water crisis every year. So in Karnataka, it's been a decade that we are facing every time we are facing drought and flooding. That means that water is talking to us through floods and droughts.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioned the neighboring villages. I know you've tried to do some work with neighboring villages in the past. How receptive have they been to your outreach, and have the local government officials helped in any way?
Well, when we, after finding the success, when we went to approach at the local grassroots village level, the village PDOs, the panchayat members, they also felt very appreciated when we talk about water conservation. Each village president, they requested us to share our model and construct in their village. And their, because of their cooperation, we were able to construct two rainwater harvesting model, one in Kopa, which is of the rooftop cum borewell recharge, and the other one at Nandikata, which is basically a stormwater collection. So basically, the village level support we have garnered and cooperation we have constructed. We also received a great amount of support from the taluka magistrate level, where they visited our project site, vouched our efforts, and request us to do more water awareness campaign, which we have followed suit. And And also at the district level, the DC, the Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Harish, as well as the ZP, Zilla Panchayat CEO, has also been very supportive. And yeah, looking forward for a collaboration from the state level to scale the water conservation model.
That's really interesting. As you've tried to scale this more and more, or even as you've thought of scaling this, have you uncovered any kind of process efficiencies that you want to kind of improve on the existing process?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
Have you uncovered some process efficiencies? So for example, you've done it once. Obviously, when you do it a second, third, fourth time, you have some learnings along the way.
Yeah, that's right.
So what have some of the learnings been, and how have you kind of optimized the process?
So well, and after finding the success, and we have requested all the, our Tibetan village leaders, monastery administrator, to be a part of the change and conserve water. Of course, there are many different types of water conservation model, and the one which we have constructed is a very small one, and but it truly has an application to do conserve groundwater, and especially raising more awareness and providing training to all the youth. I'm sure that we are convinced that the movement will go, and as well as the partnership will also enable us to construct more units. Of course, it's best practices is to share and tested method. And I'm sure that now since we have done a rooftop boiler recharge and boiler recharge, but now we are scaling towards rebuilding a check dam. So that's another avenue. And also we're looking forwards for a drip irrigation. So basically water conservation is not only about, constructing a recharge pit, it's also about using water judiciously and also be more aware about the consequences of water for the future generation.
That's wonderful. I appreciate you sharing that. You mentioned some support from local government. Have you had any kind of support from institutions worldwide or internationally? And if so, who would you like to call out? Any other organizations that you'd want to call out?
Well, we have a list, the reimagining water conservation model is successful only because of so many people are, towards it. I'm just a mere one face, but I have a fantastic amount of volunteers who, appreciate, who, are aware of the water crisis. And we have a Tibet Fund who has been, supporting us since 2017 until now. And we also would like to give a big shout out to Dr. Anita Dudani and her friends for supporting us to share the model to the neighboring Indian villages, which has definitely fostered a good relation with the neighboring Indian villages. And also, I would like to give a big shout out to my volunteer water committee members, our managing committee members, our EC members, including our advisor Radhika Rinpoche, Nicholas Wieland, Shazikhan Rinpoche, Vin Gurula, and former MC President Namgyal Seringla, my colleague Yigala Kamala, and Chumila, my volunteer, and Wenzumila, and others who had, helped me to go ahead and execute all these projects.
Well, I'll make sure I get your autograph first up, because as you become an international star, and my daughter talks about you down the road, I'll let her know that I was one of the first few people to get your autograph. So that's on my to-do list.
Well, that's so sweet of you. But I truly feel that I'm just, a very simple guy who doesn't know much, but I have the compassion and the passion to do and learn more about it. So even, when I was not aware of the importance of water before. And when I start, hearing it, researching it, it really opened my eyes to the, issue or the nature of the crisis which we are facing. So I'm sure that by watching this movie and hearing this, many youth will be more inspired to do and take small steps, the first step, and the step has to come from the grassroots.
Yeah, that you mentioned small steps, and I can share with you that I've done something similar. I have a 2-year daughter, and we give her bucket baths, right? So if you see a bucket, you see a finite amount of water. We in the US are used to showering, and you don't realize how much water you waste in showering because it's just an unlimited supply, or seems to be an unlimited supply. But as we know, water is limited, and the more we treat it as a limited resource, I guess the better off we're going to be as a world. So just Raj,
Yeah.
moving over to you, just in terms of marketing, obviously this is a first step in terms of you screening this movie to audiences worldwide.
Mhm.
What is your marketing plan going forward? Because as you know, this is a very pertinent issue, not just for people in India, but people globally. So how are you thinking of approaching this from a go forward perspective?
So, well, marketing of film is absolutely a Herculean task because it's very difficult. I mean, I'm absolutely glad that so many people joined us today to help raise funds for the marketing and distribution of the film. So, first of all, the film needs to establish credibility. It needs to establish. It has to be seen by audiences worldwide. So I'm going to be submitting the film to about 75 film festivals, which are basically from Turkey to New Zealand, to of course the United States, to Europe, to India, and not just any festivals. We're going to be targeting festivals which have some sort of environmental relevance to them. So so these niche festivals where we actually stand a chance to reach the right audiences who are environmentally aware, is something that is going to be on the top of the list. Of course, as a filmmaker, I would want my film to be submitted to Sundance and all these bigger festivals, and I would love to submit to those. But more practically speaking, I think there's a better chance of people viewing it, because I think what's most important for any film is to find an audience for itself. It's not just about like just putting it on a YouTube and then discovering it somewhere, but to find the right audience, to reach the right audience, and to get actual change, like what happened with Thakpola. When he showed it to the Karnataka government officials, they are actually going to support making new projects, right? So that's the right audience that I want to address with this film. And again, today we're getting so much love on the YouTube live, and we have reached the right audience. To get to the right audience is the most important thing for any movie. So that's the plan.
Talking about reaching audiences on YouTube, Takpola, this is a question for you from our audiences. How can we be a part of the water conservation effort? So let me make this a little broad. I guess we can tackle water conservation on two fronts, the individual front and the collective front. Obviously, you're front running the campaign to show a collective stance, but for people like me, Just Raj, everybody else watching on YouTube, how can we best conserve water on a day-to-day basis? We kind of touched upon that a little bit by my example of bucket bath, but I'd love to hear more from you. Takola, you might be on mute.
Thank you. Sorry. Well, no, that's correct. Like in order to achieve like the water crisis, it cannot be done by individually only. Of course, the individual contribution plays a very key role. Like you need to be more aware of, like the importance of fresh water, which is a very limited resource. And by when individually, it doesn't mean that you have to conserve water, rainwater every time. What you need to do start from is that you need to use water judiciously by like doing small things like changing your food habits from a non-veg to a vegetarian, which takes less water, and also like installing aerators on the faucets, checking leaks, which is one of the big elephant in the room where most of the water get used. Water is waste, and also like watering your garden during morning and evenings, and that's also have less evaporation, and also using smartly using energy efficient appliances like a washing machine. Instead of the front load, you can go for instead of top load, you can go for front load, which consume less water. And there are many like energy efficient appliances, or also take a lesser shower, as you mentioned before. instead of like a shower, you can go for bath, like with a bucket, and also installing like a low flow shower heads, which also like contribute. However, like if you would like to solve the crisis, it cannot be just limited to your individual. We all need to be a part of this movement. Until and unless we all come together, collaborate, we cannot achieve it. And as we see here ourselves in Karnataka, we are one of the worst in terms of water crisis next to Rajasthan. And water conservation basically job, as our taluk magistrate said, water conservation is not just a job that is reserved for a government. It's up to each and individual and our society, institutions, all to collaborate to, I should say, make a contribution and make a place more resilient and sustainable. So basically, partnership is key, knowledge sharing, share the tried and tested method, raising more awareness, and especially, like making the youth more aware of it. And like me, if more youths are getting aware of the importance of water, I'm sure that there will be a movement. And as you know, that when there's a movement, there will definitely going to be a change.
In terms of water savings, can you help quantify the amount of water saved, just so audiences have a good idea of what the scale is?
Well, over the last 4 years, our sustainable water management project and partnership have enabled us to construct over 12 units of water management projects. And of course, it's through partnership. And if you calculate, the average square meter of the rain catchment which we are targeting, along with the rainfall which we get in a year, and into the coefficient, which is a great number. And I'm very happy to say that like so far for the last 4 years, we have saved almost over 18 million liters.
That's
and it's
great.
all because of the partnership and cooperation.
For sure. We have another audience question in terms of some of the other challenges that you are facing as a community. Can you think about, I know this is kind of putting you on the spot, but can you think about any other challenges other than water you guys are facing as a community? And the second part of the question is, what can we do to help?
Well, yeah, of course, we do have a crisis of water, and it's not the only crisis which we are facing Duguling. And when we did an earlier survey, Duguling is facing challenges with reference to health, bad roads, scarcity of water. These all are basic, issues which need to be addressed. And to construct or to be a part of that, one is not only with reference to technology, it's also about compassion and action that makes it more difference.
For sure, for sure. That's wonderful. I guess we have addressed every audience question. So I'd love to invite over Sarang Yankee, who is a member of the RDTS Advisory Board, for her closing remarks. But Jasraj, Tako, thank you so much for your valuable time. We really appreciate it and look forward to continued collaboration with you. Thank you, guys.
Can I just say something?
Of course.
Yeah.
The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to thank everybody behind the scenes who made this event possible. I want to thank Sevangla. I want to thank Seringla. I want to thank you, Nav. I want to thank Ericla for making this event possible. And of course, I want to thank the audience for coming in and supporting us for this. This is absolutely going to help us a lot. And I hope that your support continues for our film, for our DTS, and for the water movement. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jasraj, for chiming in. Sarangla, over to you for closing remarks.
One last thing now, before Sering takes over, I just would like to thank all our volunteers, MCs members who has also been a pro bono, and they are contributing their time and supporting us. And we have a great future plan where we would like to collaborate with the other NGOs and governments, and use other government schemes. And we also have a plan in the future to collaborate with other companies who have those kind of facilities like geophysical imaging methods, which like I'm sure many of us have not heard about it. It's like checking the groundwater deep down and see that like where are the good aquifers, and see based on the aquifers we can map the whole 4,000 acres which Duguling reside, and properly on based on the proper survey we can install like a water treatment plants, check dams and others, so that it can be a smart and a more successful refugee where the other refugee community can take inspire of. And thank you so much now.
Thank you for sharing, Takpala. Sarangla, over to you.
Thank you everyone so much. Every time I hear Takpala speak, I remain inspired to act. Tashi Delek, as per the United Nations, volunteerism is one of the most important vital delivery mechanisms for social, environmental, and economic transformation, ensuring a lasting impact with its ability to change people's mindsets, attitudes, and behaviors. During these unprecedented times, we have seen the power and impact of volunteerism even more so. Many of us have or known someone that has been touched by COVID or other tragedies, and we hope that we all continue to find strength and compassion. On this International Volunteers Day, on behalf of all of us here, I would like to express my gratitude to all our volunteers and essential workers across the globe. I hope this documentary feature showed the power of volunteerism and compassion. My name is Sarang Yankee, former resident of Duguling, and currently I have the privilege to serve on the advisory board of Reimagining Duguling with other inspiring board members. On behalf of Reimagining Duguling's advisory board, I would like to congratulate Jasraj Pandey on his official screening of Tibetan Harvest. This powerful story captures the essence of humanity when driven by compassion and wisdom, where you find solution through innovation and collaboration. Our admiration and gratitude to the true change makers, Yigala, Gyawangla, Takpala, Karmala, and the RGTS team who tirelessly champion the environmental, health, education, and economic development efforts of the RGTS locally in South India. Their collaborators and supporters, the abbots and chancelas in the monasteries, the residents of Duguling, the local panchayats, district commissioners, and residents of neighboring Indian villages. What RGTS team achieves locally is realized and amplified through the support and confidence from Tibet Fund and RGTS's advisory board. Thank you. This virtual event would not have been possible without Eric Traub and Ngawan Sitin, RGTS's chief technology and social media volunteers. Our gratitude to you, all of you, for joining us today and spending this Saturday evening or Sunday morning with us. We hope this story creates a spark of joy in your lives and inspires us all to be stewards and change makers driven by compassion and wisdom. No action too small, no act too small. If you would like to contribute and continue to support RGTS, the information will be shared on the screen. We wish you and your loved ones continued good health, equanimity, and joy. Good night and good morning all. Take care and be well. Thank you from all of us.